Yeah, hi. It's Roy Abramowitz again. I'm a CPA and a forensic auditor. What I like to speak about today is the audacity of our Democrats, our Democratic House in Hartford in Connecticut, thinking that they're going to take control of our planning and zoning. In other words, come into our residential areas and tell us that they could put commercial property and low income property anywhere and override local zoning laws. It's getting to the point where all they want to do is destroy the American dream, and it's getting disgusting already. Our forefathers, including my father who survived the Battle of the Bulge and spent 4 years in a foxhole in France, and the PTSD that he suffered every time an airplane flew over our house when we lived in Brooklyn, New York, near JFK. These people, especially like Will Haskell and Kasser and other officials who never really have experience about coming from the projects like I did, building a business, having the opportunity to, say, live in New Canaan, Connecticut, in a residential area, say where I live. We have 4-acre zoning, 2-acre zoning. It's rural. We don't have sidewalks. Well, they want to go and put industrial complexes, commercial businesses, and low-income housing in our neighborhoods. So in other words, there's no more American dream. You can't better yourself. You can't move out of the urban area. And why do they want to do this? Because everybody gets a trophy, right? Everybody gets a trophy. It doesn't matter if you worked hard, graduated from college, worked 24/7 to build a business. So you're not allowed to reap the successes of your labors anymore, because it should all be distributed to those who didn't want to work hard. Okay? So in other words, if you don't want to work hard, you want to succeed, doesn't matter, because you can move into the same neighborhood as me, because they're gonna breach our zoning, and they're gonna tell Big Brother, the government's gonna tell the towns how they could zone. They're going to tell the towns how they could operate. Goodbye, American dream. You don't have to be born here. You don't have to have roots here. You don't have to pay taxes. All you have to do is illegally cross the border, because Uncle Joe is going to give you residency. He's going to give you free Medicare, Medicaid, health care up the wazoo. But I have to pay $11,000 a year for my daughter's health insurance because she's a student. I don't get it. This is the American dream. We're going bankrupt because of our sanctuary cities. We're going bankrupt because of the waste of our politicians, especially here in Connecticut. We have unfunded pensions that we can't pay. When the pension plans were formulated after World War II, the average age was 65 before you die. So you retire after 20 years. You don't live to be 90, 100. These municipal employees, and I have nothing against municipal employees, but let's make the playing field even. Work until you're 65, work until you're 75, and then you get a pension. You don't retire after 20 years at 40, 45 years old, and then you get paid for 55 years for not working. It's a geometric progression. We have more retired people on the state's payroll than we have people actually working. As a forensic CPA who does SEC work, that is a prescription for disaster. They're going to raise taxes. like here de Blasio and that disaster, Andrea Cuomo. We're going to tax the rich, tax the rich. What's rich? What's rich? There's no law in this country anymore. You know, you could burn down buildings, you could destroy businesses, you could harass cops, you could assault cops, you could assault deplorables because they don't agree with you. And you get away with it. No more bail. No more bail. But if I defended myself from the assault on one of these characters that sat down at a dinner table and threatened my family, oh, I'm going to be arrested. You know why? Because I'm an upstanding American citizen. And I don't have white privilege. That's the biggest piece of bullshit I ever heard in my life. I grew up in a housing projects in Brooklyn. I busted my chops. I went to college. I graduated with honors, cum sum laude, or whatever it is, magna cum laude. I graduated from Stern with an MBA, NYU, top 10 business school. I worked for big companies, and then I started my own business 30 years ago, my own practice. During busy time, I worked 24/7. And to tell you the truth, my parents didn't support me going to college. They told me to go out and get a job. So don't give me about that underprivileged nonsense. You know, I applied to major schools, Ivy League. I wanted to study medicine, but they told me, and hey, none of your family went to medical school, so you'd probably be a biologist and you'd be bored. You know, that was my white privilege. I'm the first one to graduate college in my family. You know what that is? Work hard, be successful. And tell the politicians to stop stealing from me and wasting from me. You know, it's amazing when somebody gets elected to Congress or the Senate, like Joey Boy Biden, who made $600,000 a year until he left the vice presidency, and all of a sudden he makes $13 million a year on his tax return. Yeah, because he's cashing in on all his connections like his son. I mean, it's ridiculous. We all have to stand up as Americans, and we have to fight the corruption, and we have to fight back and say, you know something? This privilege, woke stuff is nonsense. We want the American dream back. And all I could say is, God bless America. And we have to stop these stealing elections. I mean, people, it is so evident what happened. We see on TV vote dumps. More people vote than are registered. Even the Supreme Court of the United States and our Attorney General, the deep state. What do they have on Roberts? That he's now the biggest libtard in the world. What do they have on Barr? I'll tell you what they have on Barr. Barr's father was the master at a privileged school in Manhattan, private school. He hired one Jeffrey Epstein as a professor. Jeffrey Epstein didn't even have a college degree. So Barr's related to the deep state. So of course we don't have a Durham report. Of course he doesn't step in on our fraudulent election. People, we the silent majority have to rise up. And we have to take our country back. I'm named after my father's younger brother, my uncle, who I never met. Why? Because he was killed at the Battle of the Bulge to protect the freedoms of this country. That's right. These poor souls that defended our country, that gave it all, how would they feel about Antifa and BLM, who doesn't give a damn about black lives? Donald Trump has done more for the black community than BLM. It is ridiculous. We got to take back our beloved country. God bless America. And thank you for listening.